And then he said, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills.
I can't catch a break, guys.
Yeah.
Get them the fuck away from me. I can't be around those guys.
People think, oh, well, cleaning your room, that's just a cliche. It's like, yeah, really, eh? Just go ahead and try it.
If people had any idea how powerful sleep is for healing from anything, and the fact that it's free.
My mind is absolutely bulletproof, solid as a rock.
Podcast. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Fighting Fit Show. Today we are joined by Darren McGuinness, or Coach Pig, as he may be better known. Where did the nickname come from, Darren?
I knew this was going to be fucking asked. I made sure it was in the head. Basically, by Pig is what I'm known by most people that know me from back home. My girlfriend knew me as Pig. She still calls me Pig every now and again. Long story short, I used to be a little bit chubbier when I was younger, and then when I started losing the weight and training and all, the lads thought it'd be a good crack to start calling me Pig. Also, lovely. I'm known for a hangover food. I remember once we were in the marshes and I ordered a big bucket of KFC chicken, smashed that, chips and all, gravy and all, went up and got a foot long out of Subway, smashed that as well. One of the boys turned around and was like, "You're a pig." No.
As you do.
You are the pig. And then it kind of caught on from there.
Love it. And then, so you kind of had your own kind of weight loss journey over the years, kind of a bit like myself, kind of started out a little bit pudgy, a little bit more round, and then kind of through health and fitness, you found your love for health and fitness really, and kind of being fit and healthy and kind of being in good shape and kind of how good that feels.
Absolutely. Tell
us a little bit about your story and kind of what got you into health and fitness, kind of bring us right back to day one.
Sweet. So yeah, as I mentioned before, I carrying a little bit of extra weight. I always played sports. It wasn't that I wasn't active. It was maybe sort of eating side of things that I kind of struggled with most of all. Played rugby, played Gaelic football. But it was when I was around 17, I would have used rugby as an excuse to carry weight, because I was a front row forward and I wasn't on the tall side of things. So I was like, right, I'm almost justifying eating this food so I can play the sport. And I was like, what's the point in doing that? Because it's not doing anything to my health. Yeah. Obviously at that stage, you're like, all right, I want to start being able to chat to girls and I'm going to feel more confident in myself if I wasn't carrying this extra bit of weight just for a sport. So all these things were kind of playing in my head, and then I started training, doing a wee bit. Then, as things went on, I started enjoying it more and more. And then I did a few challenges, your 8 weeks, your 12 weeks and such. Got in fucking serious shape. But I found going so restrictive for such a short period of time, and it ended up sending me off the wagon maybe for like 3, 4, 6 months at a time. And I got into a cycle of doing a challenge, going really strict for 8, 12 weeks, and then going off the wagon for 6 months. And it took a lot of time before I realized, you don't have to be all in all the time. Consistency is the king, and I'm sure you know that yourself. Those periods are good for building, a bit of determination and knowing that you go deep when you need to, but you need to realize it doesn't have to be all in all the time.
Yeah. It's fine. Find that nice balance where before you hit that point where you're kind of sticking yourself off it. You know what I mean? Just avoiding that line a little bit. Because I had a similar experience with boxing. It's like, we a couple of months, you had a relatively short season now, but you'd be going absolutely balls to the wall, training twice a day, fucking eating feck all. And opposite to kind of you and your rugby, it was like we thought lighter was better, where you guys thought heavier was better. You know what I mean? So you're just kind of restricting yourself all the time. You know what I mean? And then once off season comes, the guys in the club used to nickname me Ricky Fatten. I just balloon up in between sessions. You'd be weighing yourself at the end of a workout, if I dropped a kilo or two after that session, that was a good session. I mean, but just fucking, not tracking the correct numbers, not focusing on the right behaviors, and just fucking lessons learned really,
Do you find something like that, if you were going to be doing weight cuts now, you would approach it very different now because of that past experience?
Yeah, but at the same time, I do find as well, it's like to get in great shape, it's like I feel like people have to realize, like, you got to fucking put the work in. Like, it's not, like, I don't know anybody that I've ever worked with who's achieved kind of top class results. You know what I mean? It needs to be a fucking priority. Like, it needs to be one of the first things you think about in the morning. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's all right you're kind of doing it for looking well, but if you want to be fucking, you know what I mean? Like, even for us, like, with boxing, like, it's very fucking competitive. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you don't, like, I wouldn't enter any championships if I couldn't train twice a day. You get what I'm saying? That's a standard. It's like semi-professional. You know what I mean? Because you're going to come up, you just keep fucking it up and up and up the levels until you find someone that's going to knock your head off. Like, you know what I mean? So you got to be prepared. But again, for weight cuts, kind of body composition wise, and then obviously for boxing it is a little bit different. Obviously for boxing you're going to do a lot of water weight cutting, whereas if it's for physique, it's like, what's the point in cutting weight if it's not fat? You know, so we're trying to find a balance between the two, because you know, I've trained for an hour this morning, jumping the scales just even out of habit, just for the crack. You know, and I was like, oh, like a kilo lighter. You know, and you still get a little bit of a budge. You're like, oh, I'm lighter. You know, but I'll drink this bottle of water now and I'll be back up exactly where I was. Like, so it doesn't really make a difference. You know what I mean? So just trying to keep the longer term approach. Like just kind of trying to, I found a lovely balance now where I just like, I have my overtrain in the morning. I'll do 30 minutes weight training. I'll do then 30 minutes of boxing. I'll go for a 5K or something. And just finding what I enjoy, you know, and then it's like, I'll do it every day. And it's like, not doing it for weight loss. So too many people, I think, it's all about the weight loss. They're always like, they'll only train when they're losing weight, or they only train to lose weight. And that's why they keep falling off the wagon, because if you're only trained to lose weight, you hit your goal weight, and all of a sudden you've no reason to train, and you fucking go back up. And now I need to lose weight again. So now I go back to the gym. I lose the weight. No reason, no why, no motivation to train. Put the weight back on, blah, 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 and just never fucking ends for a lot of people, you know? So it's like trying to train to feel good or trying to train for performance, I think is incredible. You know, and that's why we use use it kind of training apps and stuff like that yourself, like, you know, tracking the sets and reps and tracking the numbers. It's just it's so motivating, because it means like every other week you're getting a new personal best or something. You know what I mean? Exactly. It's like, I got an extra burpee today. I got an extra push-up. Moved from the 10s to the 12s. Moved from the 20s to the 25s, or whatever the case may be. Whereas, like, if your motivation is tied into that scale, you know, I mean, the weight just goes up and down for fucking a million different reasons. You know what I mean? So it's like your motivation
will fluctuate with that as well.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, if you're contract, it's like you can see a PB. If you got a varied workout program, you know, you're probably doing fucking, you know, 30, 40, 50 exercises across the week. You know what I mean? So there's loads of different opportunities for growth, or opportunities to win. Well, I try and tell my clients, and we're doing a good bit of kind of this stuff with clients over the last couple of weeks, is like, your number one job is to look for the wins. At the end of the week, when the week's over and we're doing like our checking or whatever, it's like your goal is to look for the wins. Like, you jump in the scales, you didn't see progress. Get the fucking measuring tape out. Let's see if you've lost any fucking inches. Can't find any inches lost, take a fucking picture, have a look at that. How did that go? You know, I'm sure there's your job, and then by the end of the day, it's like, you got to be accountable. It's like, listen, did you fucking do the work? It's like, you know, what are we fucking, like, what do we say? Are we setting for a magic lamp here, or what are we doing? Like, you know, do you deserve to lose weight, or to fucking, you know, to see some sort of progress? And if you didn't, it's like, right, well, that's where we start. Like, you know, did you do your steps? Yes or no? Did you do your workouts? Yes or no? Did you follow the nutrition plan? Yes or no? Blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? I feel like people just don't, I don't know, in a lot of cases, people just don't put it on themselves. People are just getting a little bit soft, I think. You know, people are too, they don't want to take responsibility. I heard your podcast, and we can talk about it a little bit more later. But kind of your whole new podcast that you had, your man, the guy who never settles. The guy who never settles. Yeah, Mark
McCourt.
Mark McCourt. His thing with Jocko Willink, you know, and the extreme ownership. It's like, but that's as good as it gets from everything I've read. It's like, if you're not taking extreme ownership, you're just fucking blaming other people.
Exactly.
So it's like, but it's very hard, because we do it in here, we and the boys, because we've all read, we're all switched on, and like, you know, and take extreme ownership. But it's like, you have to do it yourself. So it's like, people can almost fucking manipulate you, because if you're the one that's always going to take responsibility, it's easy to kind of always push it off onto you. Whereas like, when you've got a relationship and both of us are willing to take extreme ownership, I'm willing to say, listen, this is on my side, this is what I could have done better, and you say, well, on my side, I could have done this better. You know what I mean? And we're both approaching it with that mindset. It's fucking magic. You know what I mean?
It is magic.
You can fucking achieve whatever you want.
And like, if you have two, like, let's say it's like, if you're speaking, like, obviously you have coaches that you work with there, you have a team. If you all take extreme ownership, obviously a certain situation, it might be somebody else's fault a little bit more than yours. But if everybody's working on what they can control to improve the whole situation, it's only going to lift everything up.
Yeah, what does it say? A rising tide lifts all ships.
Boom. You're a great man for fucking quotes off the top of your head.
Honestly,
I always forget them.
Oh man, I've been fucking buying quotes out fucking this 3-4 years. I love quotes, and even again, that was a great podcast with your man the other day. What was the thing he said? Fucking a quote is a something. What did he say? A quote is just a compression of a great idea or something like that.
Yes, yeah, that's it. He's very good at remembering them.
Yeah. But again, that's amazing. You know, that's exactly what it is. It's like, just boom. But it's like, you say like 3 or 4 words, but it unlocks, you know, in a couple of paragraphs inside your head. Like, obviously you need to understand it in a little bit more depth, but the quote is like is the doorway that kind of just refreshes the idea. Because I remember reading something before about coaching. It was like people need reminded more than they need educated. So more than they need new information. They just need to remind, because we all know enough. Everybody seems to want to complicate health and fitness. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not really that hard. Like we've got a pretty good system, and it's like all the basic stuff. You know, your NEAT. What's your fucking NEAT like? How many steps you doing every day? How many calories are you taking in? What's your workouts like? What's the intensity like? How's your sleep? How's the water? And after that, it's like, you know, we're like, oh, we can get into a little bit of stress management and stuff. But it's like, you know, and that should get you fucking 99.9% of the way if you're ticking all them boxes. You know what I mean? And everyone wants to know, like, oh, should I do low carb? Should I do low carb? Should I do fastest carb? Should I not do fastest
High
carb?
volume, low volume.
Yeah, should I walk? Should I jog? Should I sprint? You know, it's like, it doesn't really fucking matter. Just move. You know what I mean? Just move until, and again, unless you're a fucking athlete. And then we're talking, it's a different box of frogs. But, you know what I mean? But for if you just want to lose weight and feel good and be healthy, do whatever you like. Do some element of resistance training, some element of cardiovascular training, whatever you enjoy, and then just don't eat like a numpty.
Exactly. And the most important thing I find with training is you need to enjoy it to some degree. To some degree, you mightn't enjoy all of it, but you need to have some way to keep you adherent to, like, the biggest thing is sticking to it long term. You know, a lot of people try and do things they can't stick to for more than 10 weeks at a time, including myself when I was younger. And
listen, to be completely honest, I still do it a little bit now. Like, you know, it's easy to fall in. Everybody wants fucking more than they deserve or more than they've earned. You know, we'd all love to get. Everyone loves a good deal. You know, sure time if I do this one, I only have to put in half the effort and I get the same results. We're all, that's just human nature. It's fine. It's like it's under, like, being self-aware and understanding yourself is fine, but it's like at the same time, was the Einstein quote fucking definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. It's like, you know, if you need to change your approach, if you tried that before, it's not working. I mean, stop doing it. I fell on a couple of weeks ago when we signed up, and I was like, because we were doing the week 21 day challenges to get people kind of into the online training, let them kind of experience a little low barrier offer. And how much, or like, cause I would try and let the clients set the goal, and I was like, oh, what do you think is a good goal for 21 days? It's like, oh, well, I lost a stone in 3 weeks doing this program. And like, first, it's like, oh, did you keep it off? No. It's like, like, you didn't be, there's like, we got so many like weight loss champions out there. How much, I can lose I can lose 5 pounds a week. It's like, well, you're 3 stone overweight. Like you're not, it's like, it's obviously not an effective strategy. Like you have not been successful unless you've kept it off. If like you lost a stone and you haven't kept it off, it's like, you can't give yourself the pat in the back yet. It's like the
same principle when it comes to boxing or UFC. I find if you've won the title, fair enough, but I don't rank you until you've defended that belt.
Yeah, because this is one of the worst things that happened. I think it was McGregor that said it. It's like, like winning weakens some people. You know what I mean? It takes their hunger away. You know, that's the whole thing. It's like once they hit that goal weight, it's like, who are you now? You know what I mean? It's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with that now? You know what I mean? And then it comes back then even to the millionaire mindset and this whole concept of like, or like, if you took a millionaire's money away, you know, within a couple of years, he'd have it back, because it's the mindset, it's the fucking, you know, it's the knowledge, it's the habits, it's the routines, it's the network, it's all this stuff. Whereas like if you give somebody fucking some nutty $1 million, you know what I mean? What it will do is they'll just dive into the negative aspects of the personality. They'll end up fucking addicted to drugs, spending money on shite, attracting the wrong people, and they'll blow it. And it happens all the fucking time with the lottery. People fucking...
Absolutely. I was about to say that. I don't know the exact stats, but I think there's a high percentage of them end up losing most of it, if not all of it.
Yeah, well, I think one of my favorite guys in the kind of the self-development space is Jim Rohn, kind of a little more old school. I don't know, I just fucking love his voice. You know, he always talks about that kind of concept of kind of, you know, being a millionaire versus having $1 million and stuff like that. And it's just such an important concept. It's like, if you can't be trusted when the amounts are small, you're not going to be trusted with anything greater than that. You know, and it's like, you know, it's like you've got, like, say, like you've got the average stuff, like 9 to 5 job, you know, family, blah blah, all the kind of commitments most people have, and you can't manage it. What you want, you know, but you're saying that you deserve more. I want to do better. It's like, listen, handle what you have right now, and show the universe or whatever you want to say that you can do that well, and then you'll be rewarded with more. But it's like, if you can't be trusted when the amounts are small, don't expect to manage anything of any significance.
Everything gets more difficult the more money you have. Or I almost would equate like money to nearly be like a drug. You know, like when they talk about, like, you know, people have issues with like drinking. Or obviously, I'm not an expert on this side of things, but I kind of equate those two similarly. Like, if you get into drinking or whatever, or getting loads of money, those are only going to exacerbate things that you already have going on. So if you're if you're an aggravating person, you like getting in arguments or something like that, if you have a bit of money, that's not going to stop you from getting in arguments or causing hassle. Or if you get leery whenever you're drinking. You know, it's just going to make you worse.
100%. Another quote for that is, money makes you more of what you are. And that's what I think that Tony Robbins said, that money makes you more of what you are. If you're an asshole, you'd be a bigger asshole with money. You know what I mean? if you're a drug addict, you'll be a bigger drug addict with more money. If you've got an alcohol problem, you'll have a bigger alcohol problem. But again, if you're a good person, you know, you'll be an even better person with money. If you're generous, you'll be even more generous with money. It works both ways. You know?
Yeah.
And then so just kind of get into the topic of money and all that fun stuff. What about what kind of brought you over to London then? So kind of you're obviously originally from Dundalk, you went over to London. Can you started working there? And I know you're doing a good bit of your own kind of work now, kind of more entrepreneurial kind of stuff. Can you tell us what has that journey been like for you?
So basically, I'll give a bit of context behind why I moved over. So I have family over here. I was actually born here, moved back to Ireland when I was 5. My parents are all from both from one's from RD, one's from town. So they were walking over here and decided to move home, which I'm glad they did, or else I'd have a little London accent. At this stage, I'm glad to have the Irish accent. I was going to go back I graduated from sports science and health in DCU, and my dad had recently taken over Pedder's pub in town, and I was working there my last year, went in a J1, I came back and I was like, right, I'm going to take a year out, see what's happening, apply for a master's in strength and conditioning, because that's what I thought I wanted to move into. I'd been working with teams on the side and working with individual athletes like for a couple of years at that stage. I just thought about this yesterday. I'd been doing online coaching for about 6 or 7 years, but I didn't really click that it was online coaching, you know, just sending email programs and shit. And it was a decision either to move down to Carlo to do my master's in strength and conditioning, and I would have been living off like, you know, 100 quid a week doing a part-time job. I'd recently started going out with the other half, and
girlfriends are expensive.
Well, I would be thinking more so on the time side of things. I wouldn't be seeing her if I was down in Carlo. You know, I was like, I think that whole year I was thinking, I don't really want to jump into this because I'm not ready for a full master's. I don't think I'll give it a good whack. So I ended up being like, fuck it. Well, we just moved to London for a year and see what happens. And moved over. I was working at my uncle's pub, doing a little bit of PT on the side and online coaching, but nothing serious. And I was like, you know what? Let's fucking go, give it a full whack. Had to go back and do like a PT course over here because they wouldn't recognize my sports science degree to go into a job, which was humbling because I think if I had to just went straight in, I maybe wouldn't appreciated it as much. But having to go back and be a fitness instructor for 6 months and study and all that humbled me a good bit, and got cracking into PT over here. Found out very quickly that it's a different ball game than it possibly may be back home, where there's a lot of competition. You're paying high rents without any guaranteed clientele. Going in from a sports science degree where I knew the science and the training, and I knew a little bit about the coaching side of things, but it was the business that I didn't know anything about. Anything. Going in blind, and I used to hate talking about myself or trying to big myself up. Like that's what I thought you had to do early on to get clients. You know, you're walking the gym floor and trying to get them in for free sessions or whatever else. Found that very hard. That was probably one of the hardest things. I remember going home being like saying to the other half, like, I fucking hate this. Like I love training people, but I hate walking around trying to sell myself.
Yeah, I remember I had an experience with that a few years back. And I was running an event in the boxing club, and it was this kind of before I kind of really started doing much. Maybe I was doing a couple of boxing sessions or something. And we were running internationals, Ireland v England, and I had to basically go around, or I volunteered because I kind of wanted it to be a big event, so I kind of volunteered to kind of go around and get sponsorship. And what I done was I went into the town and I went to every single business, literally walked into every single business, asked can I speak to the manager, and I gave them my little pitch and see if they wanted to sponsor our event. You know what I mean? And literally that day I must have been told no 999 times, you know what I mean? But there was a few fucking goldies in there, like, you know, they're really generous, really nice, gave you the money. But I just looking back, that was such a valuable experience. The same these people do, the door-to-door salesmen, and you know, they fucking go around selling the fucking security systems, and you know, these kind of jobs that people do for a couple of months and then never do them again. But that kind of stuff, it's like it's so valuable to kind of just to develop that develop that thick skin, really. I think it is, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Like that, not being afraid. Now it's like I would have no problem asking anybody for anything, you know. And it's like if you don't ask, you don't get. It's like, so if you're afraid to ask, it's like you're missing out on so much opportunity.
Yeah, but that's something that I always was afraid. Like when I was younger, I would never speak to somebody that I didn't know, unless like, you know, I kind of knew somebody that knew them. You know, I would kind of be afraid to approach people I didn't know. And I always, especially when I was young, I used to hate talking to people that were older. I always had that sort of a fear. And I'd say it was probably just starting coaching, and when you're being forced into that situation where you have to talk to somebody one-on-one, regardless of whether you know them or not. And it kind of brought me out of that shell to a degree. But you're right, you have to be told no so many times before you're going to get a yes. And Gary Vee always says, you know, you just keep going. Eventually somebody's going to say yes. And it's just about being persistent with it and learning the lessons is the big thing. I didn't accept the no's that I got early on, and it affected me. But now if somebody tells me no, I'm like, right, maybe they don't suit me. Maybe I can't help them. Maybe they need to see somebody else. Maybe it's them that's not ready to make the commitment. You know, it's not always about me. You know, there's so many factors that goes into somebody wanting to commit to training.
Yeah, because I think that's something we do so much, and like I feel people do it more now than ever. It's like we always make it about us. You know what I mean? We always make it about us. It's like they don't want to work because of me. Everyone's because of me. Everyone's kind of so self-centered. You know what I mean? It's like it's always my. It's like no, maybe they've got fucking shit going on. Maybe you just don't vibe or you don't connect, as you said. Like, you know, it's like what I kind of learned before is like this thing with marketing. It's like marketing. You've got two jobs in marketing. One is to attract the people you want, and the second thing is to repel the people that you don't. Because even yourself, I see you doing the stuff on Instagram stories, and I just kind of started doing we ranting on the camera there recently. Because it's something again, it's really uncomfortable. Nobody really likes doing that. Nobody likes putting themselves out there, especially if it's off the cuff, and you know, and you're putting yourself out there to be criticized and all this kind of stuff, you know. But you just got to do it, because what it's doing is the people who vibe with my message, it'll bring them closer, and the people that don't like it, they'll piss off, and eventually you'll actually have a tribe of followers. You know what I mean? Your
tribe.
Exactly. But the great book, Kevin Kelly, 1,000 True Fans. I know it was a blog post actually. It wasn't even a book. Maybe it's turned into a book. It's called 1,000 True Fans. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I haven't.
Dude, look this up, man. It's good. It's not a long read at all. Kevin Kelly, 1,000 True Fans. Really, really good. And basically the concept is, like, you know, everybody thinks they need to be a millionaire or need to do whatever, you know, to live a good life. It's like, no, all you need is 1,000 true fans. 1,000 true fans that want to work, that like your message, that know, like, and trust you. Want, you know, like your message, like what you do. And if you were to put out a coaching program or a product, most of them would buy it. And you can live a really good, healthy life off that and add a lot of value to them people. Like, you know what I mean? Because for me, I think a lot of people have a really negative relation. When it's something I had to work on a lot, kind of growing up, you know, relatively poor and all this kind of stuff. As far as the statistics go, you know, but kind of, it's like, for me, it's like, if you have a good business and you're making money, it means the more money I make, I mean, that's a direct representation of how much value I'm adding and how many people I'm helping. So it's like, for me, making more money is a good thing. Whereas and again, personal trainers, I feel like, are the worst for it. Yeah. Or like maybe just have some sort of like insecurity, or I think it's imposter syndrome, or, you know, just a self-worth issue, you know, that they're afraid to ask for the money that they deserve. Because like when I read our reviews, it's like, fucking, like, this is life-changing for people. It's like, this is a great service. Like, personal trainers are some of the best people in the world, in my opinion. You know, some of the best people that are passionate, knowledgeable, educated, you know, and hungry to help people, you know, just good people. You know what I mean? But I feel like everyone's just trying to undercut each other on price. And it's like, everyone's just driving the cost down to the floor. And it's like, at the end, once we get down to the meat and bones, it's like, who good is going to do, like, you see people selling personal training sessions for a tenner. It's like, yeah. So once you take the tax of that, it's like you're working for less than minimum wage here. It's like, that's just not a sustainable business. And if the business model isn't sustainable, you can't help the clients long term, because, you know, we all got to pay our bills and do our bits and bobs, you know.
Exactly, and you want to be able to have enough money there for further education to keep that learning process going, just for your clients to get better benefit. Like, my end goal is to know as much for my clients and be able to help my clients as much as I can. And the business, obviously, I need to be able to support myself, but I want to be able to put money back into the business to make it better for the people and help more people.
And then we all have our friends and family and our wider community.
Exactly.
You know, and again, I hope that I'm one of the people that's like, if you give me a lot of money, I'll fucking share it around. I love giving money. It's like, you know, what's better, getting a present or giving a present? I fucking love giving presents. There's nothing better when you see somebody's face, especially kids as well. They're great. When you buy them out, and again, kids' toys are actually really, really cheap. When you go in the Smiths there and you get fucking Unreal toys for 20, 30 quid, you know. His mom used to make me think they were fucking a fortune. But fucking, you know what I mean? It's like, it's so better to give. It's way better to give. But it's like, there's nothing wrong with charging what you're worth, I think.
Exactly.
Because it means you can deliver better service and give people what they want. Like, this whole, like, this gym model has been around for so long now. People are getting fatter and fatter, more depressed, more unhealthy. It's like, it's not the solution. It's not the solution. It's like most people who are like, self-motivated, self-directed, autonomous, stick the headphones in, like to rip it up and do good sessions. Like, yeah, fair play, fucking great value for you. That is a fucking, cracker. You know what I mean? You get the
Few and
you
far
get all
between,
up.
though.
But who's it worked for? You know, it didn't work for me. You know, and then kind of my kind of spiel is like, then I got back to boxing. And what was it? It wasn't necessarily the boxing. It was like, I had my coaches, someone to keep me accountable, someone to give me a bit of support, somebody give me a kick up the arse, give me a little bit of direction. You know what I mean? That little bit of social pressure, which is good. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what when I've been at my best, I've had coaches, even in business. Like a business coach, I have coaches all loads of different areas, mentors. People are doing what I consider a mentor, because I just fucking watch all the YouTube videos and all. And there's just such good information out there these days,
There is, and you're touching on something that I find like very interesting about like fitness is that a lot of people get into it for the wrong reasons. They get into it solely to make money. Like as you're speaking about, it's a lot of people struggle with it. I struggled with it, like asking for the money that I'm worth. Because, I'm like, oh, imposter syndrome. I don't, why would they want to pay for some fucking idiot like me to train them? But like, you just keep telling yourself these things, but then you just have to realize, right, if you don't have worth for yourself, people aren't going to value you either. And also, if you're too cheap, people aren't going to put the effort in because it's not enough of a commitment. And, I've found out through the hard way, sometimes trying to help people for nothing early on in the process, really early on, like friends and family, and it ends up working against you sometimes because they don't value it because they didn't pay
every time.
I didn't want to say every time in case any of them listen.
Actually, Joe, me and Brian were actually talking about this the other day because we have a thing again. Something I learned from a business coach: when people pay, they pay attention. You know what I mean? When people pay, they pay attention. So important to get that across because they're actually invested. We have help, and even there more recently, we started doing the 5-day free challenges. Oh man, piss me off, man. People just don't do the work. They don't buy in because they don't value it. It's so easy to quit. It's so easy to, similar, like imagine a parachute jump. Oh, here, let's go. We can go parachute jumping for free. 20 people sign up. 1 or 2 will show up. Because it's not easy. It's not as if you're fucking giving away a free fucking massage. It's like, here you've got to put in a little bit of work here and sweat a little, like, you know what I mean? So it is a little bit different. But when people pay to pay attention, have you ever heard of Paul Check?
Yeah.
Paul Check, he talks in one of his videos, he talks about this concept of like, the more I started charging, the better shape people started showing up in. You know what I mean? He said, like, the more I put up my prices, he's like, I started getting fucking athletes coming in, they needed the feck all done because they were the people who were committed, ready to do whatever it takes. You know what I mean? Because I think like when we talk about values and stuff, it's like, like when if I ask you, like, what's your core values? Most people don't know because they've never really thought about it, which is fine, but it's like something I would encourage you to do. If you don't know what your core values are, I really encourage anyone listening to maybe sit down and ask yourself, what is actually important to me? But for most people in the top 2 anyway, it's going to usually family and then it's going to be my health. Well, health in and around are number 1 because if you don't have health, you've nothing else. But it's like, then how do you spend your money? It's like, all right, now we're playing a different game. Now it's like, now health is way down the list. You get what I'm saying? Like people, want to spend a $5 a week in a gym membership. It's like, I don't know if you're struggling, if you're 2-3 stone overweight and you've tried, maybe you need to get a little bit more invested. You know what I mean?
You get what you pay for.
Exactly. You always get what you pay for. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think it's so true. I feel like if people just really put a little bit more weight into it, but then they go spend fucking, 100 quid in a shirt in a heartbeat, but personal training's too expensive. I don't know. I think it's like I guarantee you having that body you actually like to look at in the mirror will make you feel a lot better than that shirt ever will.
Absolutely. That's something that it irks me a little bit sometimes when I see people like, that would be, I want to look like such and such, but you have to go and spend money on all these clothes, spend all the money on it. But why would they not invest that in themselves? Maybe not get a coach, maybe invest in some training gear or something like that. But like, obviously coach, if you want to make something serious, changes to your body and your mind, the best way to go about it is to hire somebody who knows more about it than you. And people just are so unwilling to do it. And I found that it was so hard for me to try and put that message across because people would be like, oh, but you're only saying that so they can buy your programs. So I purposefully now say, you don't have to buy my program. You don't have to get coaching with me. Find somebody that you like and that you trust and go to them. But if you do have a serious goal, don't try and do it yourself because the chances are you probably will need help at some stage. You may as well go for it now.
Yeah, but what does Kim Kardashian and Michael Phelps both have in common? they both have coaches and trainers. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like two people do really well with a coach. It's like one person A who needs a kick up the arse, getting started, isn't really that knowledgeable, has never really been successful on their own. You need a hand. You get what I'm saying? It's like same with school. It's like if you don't know stuff, you get a teacher. You know, someone can show you the ropes. Someone who's been there before and replicated the results with other people. Has a proven track record. Boom. And then the next person, Michael Phelps, it's like all elite athletes, all top performers, all have coaches and mentors. People that kind of help them because we all tend, it's human nature. It's not, again, no need to fucking beat yourself up about it. We all leave 10% in the tank if there's no one that really there to draw it out of us, or if you've a good training partner or something. You know what I mean? Something to draw it out of you. You know what I mean? So that's kind of, for me, it's like they're the two people that do really well with coaching. But then it's like, who do you want to be? You know what I mean? Like, who do you want to be? Like, do you want to be the best version of yourself? You just want to kind of keep tipping along. Like, you know what I mean? If you're paying for a coach, you should be paying for speed, in my opinion. Paying to get there a little bit faster. Paying for a proven system. And the key piece about coaching, I think, is the accountability element. We all need to be held accountable. I know you know, I procrastinate a whole lot, but I still manage to get a lot of stuff done because I've got people to answer to. I've got staff. I've got responsibilities and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the month, the bills still need paid. So you got to hit the numbers. You got to make it work. But the pressure of that is what makes you do the work. But some people just don't want to put themselves under that level of pressure. Like, we've got this thing now, it's like, especially with COVID and stuff, like, you know, we're putting a lot of, not pressure on our client, but like we're reaching out a lot. Like, we've really kind of doubled down on the accountability and the engagement level. And it's having two effects. Some people are fucking smashing it. Other people, they just don't like, it's too much heat. They're like, I'm tapping out. You know, it's like, fine. It's like, cool. It's like, it's not a good time for you. That's fine. You know, but it's like, it's so possible right now. We've got so many clients that are like fucking as lean as they've ever been. You know, and obviously everybody's situation is a little bit different now with the whole COVID situation. But there's a beautiful opportunity there for so many people, you know, to really fucking to do something that they've never had the opportunity to do before, to make it a priority like they've never made a priority before, and you know, get the results that they need, want, and or deserve. You know what I mean? So I think just
absolutely
get the finger out, lads.
Absolutely. And obviously the fitness and the nutrition side of things is important, but I think them sort of views ring true no matter what it is you want to do. If you want to start a new business, online business, fucking get at it. Myself, I put this doing the podcast for fucking ages, because it was like, who wants to listen to me talk? I just fucking jumped the gun, took action, messaged a load of people, did it, and it's probably the best decision I probably made in a long time. You need to just take action right now. If you're not into training, you're not into looking after your health, fine, make small investments into it. Maybe invest your time into something else. Maybe you have a passion that you haven't pursued. Fucking get stuck into it now. There's no better time than now. You're not going to have another time like it. We're not going to be going through loads of quarantines or lockdowns. This is probably a once in a
hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, no, like, but it's like you'll get what you focus on. If you focus on the opportunity, you'll see the opportunity. If you focus on the problems, all you'll see is problems. And then kind of go back in your podcast. Yeah, so kind of what was it? You said at the beginning of what I think was the first podcast that you released. It was like, you know, kind of just have an appreciation for kind of the longer format of a podcast, and you know, that's a little bit of a lost art, kind of longer form conversations. So obviously, kind of social media now is all about it's all about bullet points and headlines and catchy titles and all this kind of stuff, which is fine. Kind of my kind of whole thing with it now is like, before I was kind of starting out, I used to resist it. It's like, no. I'm a virtuous personal trainer. You know, I'm not going to do that. I mean, then I realized, like, you know what it is? Sell people what they want and then give them what they need. It's like, if you're not dangling the right car, they'll never work with you. And if they don't work with you, you can't fucking help them. So you might as well, you know, stop fucking, get off your high horse, get off your pedestal, and fucking meet people where they're at and give them what they want. And then, because even like another one, because I know you're big in mobility, you know, it's like, I know I've got clients there, like, and they could not be, and I'm one of these people, could not be arsed about mobility if I'm fat. When I'm fat, it's like, all I want to do is not be fat. And then let's talk about mobility.
Yeah.
But until you have me get skinny, it's like, obviously, listen, you know, you probably should, you know, we should all have a fucking good mobility routine. We should all be loose and limber and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, some people just don't have the bandwidth for it because this is their pain point right now. So we need to help them here. And then we can talk about other things like mindset, nutrition, and fucking, obviously,
meet them where they're at.
Exactly, meet them where I find that so powerful. But anyway, so the podcast. So kind of, what was your motivation to do it?
I've loved podcasts, man, for a long time. I'd say the first 2 years I was over here, I listened to a serious amount of podcasts. That much that I probably had to take about 3 or 4 months off afterwards because I couldn't take any more training knowledge in. I got to the stage where I probably wasn't taking in half of it, but I was still enjoying them. And I I like the longer format because people's attention has gone to shit. And somebody actually mentioned to me when they were giving feedback about the podcast that they were a little bit long, and I said I'm happy about that. If it turns some people off, that's fine. We're speaking about earlier, you know, the people that want to do that, listen to that, they'll come to listen, and the people who won't will drift off. And I want to be able to talk and learn from other people. Same as here, like little bits of insight. They can make a big difference, and I think you can make so much difference with a conversation, even like chatting to clients. Most of my coaching at the moment is online, and like, you know, a little call, 15-20 minutes, that can make a big impact for people, and it can make a big impact for me. You can learn so many lessons that people have had to face in real life, that you don't have to face those things, but you can still pick the lessons out from that. And, you know, it just, an insight into people's perspective is a valuable thing. You know, like speaking about quotes, a podcast could be like a whole bunch of ideas plugged into an hour, and you can just pick whatever is valuable. Like some people might listen to this, might take one thing out of it, others might take a different thing out, and you're providing more value to be able to hit more people, and people can resonate with what they can resonate with.
Yeah, that's so cool, because like, you're not supposed to. Nobody's going to remember, even anyone listening to this podcast. Like, they're not going to remember the whole podcast. Said they'll take a golden nugget away, 2 or 3 things maybe that we said. Hopefully, you know, unless we're just talking absolute shite, that they can take away and then they can apply. It's like that one thing. Even if you read a book, you know, and it's like usually I read a book, it's like it fucking takes days and days and days. Like even an audio book, like, you know, 8-9 hours. But there's 1 or 2 things you'll take away, and then you'll apply them, and then you can always go back to the book and maybe kind of delve a little bit deeper. I find with books and stuff, I have to read books 2 or 3 times to really kind of get the whole thing to sink in. Because usually what I'll do is I'll kind of listen to audio books kind of when I'm doing something, trying to kill some dead time, you know, from driving around the car, from walking or running, or, you know, cleaning the house, doing loads, cutting the grass. I'll always kind of throw a podcast in. But yeah, I think it's such a really, really cool way to learn. I remember someone comparing it to the what did they call that? The Gutenberg Revolution, when they kind of invented the printing press. You know, this new way to consume information that makes it so accessible to people. Anyone who's kind of has all that dead time on a commute and, like, you know, cleaning the house and minding the kids or whatever, it's like throw that on in the background. It's like you can consume some really, really cool information while, you know, doing a low value task. You can now turn that into maybe a more high value task. It's going to help you push forward and move, because I feel like it's all about progress. It's all, like, for me anyway, like I feel like I'm my happiest when I'm making some sort of progress. And it's like I like challenges, you know, and like challenges keep things fun and interesting. Obviously, listen, it's trying to find that nice balance where it's not going to absolutely, you know, crush it, you know, but it's nice to be stretched, it's nice to be pushed a little bit. It's nice to see, it's nice to build your own self-confidence, because you know you can overcome it. Every time you get faced with a challenge and you beat it, it's like, oh fuck, I'm a little bit better than I thought I was. And now you've drawn a new line in the sand. There's a new standard set. You know, and now when you push on, because that's the only way I feel you can, you know, develop self-confidence through action and through proof. You can't lie to yourself. Even it can maybe even talk about things like, you know, imposter syndrome and, you know, kind of people struggling with self-worth and all that stuff. Maybe because you haven't done the work yet. Maybe because you haven't helped, not you in particular, but like maybe you haven't helped enough people yet. Maybe you haven't got enough good reviews. Maybe you haven't read the books. Maybe you haven't done the things. So that's what this conversation is going on people's minds nowadays. It's like, maybe it's the truth. Maybe you're not good enough. You know, maybe you're not. I don't know. Like, again, but only you know. It's like, we all know. It's like this whole thing's the conscience. It's trying to tell you something. It's like, it's not only supposed to be good information. It's like pain is a motivator too. So stop like just fucking going around in circles on the same thing, and maybe listen, and maybe think, and then do something about it. If you can't, the same thing keeps coming up and up over and over again. It's like maybe you need to address that and look at that and see where the lesson is in that. Otherwise,
there's nothing wrong with not being good enough at something, because it just means more room to improve, you know. And like, look, I'm speaking of like imposter syndrome. When I was younger and I was feeling that, I fucking probably well deserved to be feeling that I was good enough to be up in front of people. You just need to fucking stick yourself in the deep end, learn the lessons, and, you know, eventually that will fade for most of us anyway. Obviously, I find whenever if I touched out a few people doing the podcast and reaching people that were, like, let's say, more followers than me, I was kind of like, why the fuck would they want to listen to or go on a podcast with me? And it started creeping in a little bit there. But there's a good quote that I like. The guy who didn't settle it, Mark, he told me about this one. It's, you're as good as anyone, but better than no one. And, you know, if you go with that sort of mindset, you know, sometimes that imposter syndrome mightn't creep up as much.
But I think, but I said you're right. It's like when you're starting out, it's like, yeah, you probably should have a little bit of imposter syndrome because you're fucking winging it. Like,
Yeah.
you're a baby as far as anybody else is concerned. But then hopefully, you find a good. We all kind of have that for them first few clients that are a real blessing. To kind of stick with us, trust us, and kind of really help us kind of build our confidence and kind of build our business. Really, kind of get us started because that kind of really can be the hardest part about the whole thing. But then, where are you now with your kind of your online business? And are you what's the gym you work out of called? The Hub.
So yeah, working out of Hub Health in Clapham. So it's an osteopath clinic, which was the fucking very welcome change to me. I always found that when it came to, let's say, regular gyms, that I would have found it hard to kind of push what I wanted to push because it's a hard sell. I would be health first. Uh, Obviously, you spoke about mobility. Mobility would be a big thing. I would kind of sneak that in. I wouldn't approach that. A lot of people, obviously, if somebody approaches wanting to get more mobile, it's a priority. But the way I approach it is a harder sell. I'm not all about the look. I'm not going around with a six pack, trying to show off, be like, oh, I look like this, so you look like that. So it was a hard sell, but they're much about, it's all about health. They run small group classes, PT. So when I arrived there, they gave me a list of clients already. So I was kind of taking some business already. It's a private place. So in that sense, business wise, it was a blessing. They manage my schedule. I give them the hours that I'd like to work, and then they kind of filled in the clients. I obviously had to still keep the clients happy and keep them progressing. Been there about a year and a half. And then obviously, because it's an osteopath clinic, they would be referring all clients, that have slight niggles and injuries, which was fascinating. And I get to learn from some really, really smart people and a different background than what I would be used to altogether. It's changed my game altogether. The mobility and, the little bit of injury prevention side of things of my training has gone up mad amounts. And even just how to deal with people, because the way a practitioner, an osteopath or a physio or a masseuse would approach dealing with people would be different than what a PT would generally approach. If you think a stereotypical PT for somebody who's not a PT, it's like, shouting at somebody and kind of like coercing them to get the stuff out of them. But a practitioner would do similar thing, but in a lot different of a manner. So I kind of picked up some of the good things out of that. And it was a challenge because they use a lot of scientific terminology, but it forced me to kind of relearn all that stuff and feel more comfortable talking around people that were, I thought, at a higher level of knowledge than I was.
Yeah. You're honest with you, and you touched on it earlier on. It's like this whole thing about having a growth mindset. Like if they can do it, I can do it. It's like there's only a gap in knowledge. Maybe it's just the gap in time. Maybe it's just not experienced enough, or I need to learn a little bit more. But it's like if they do it, if I replicate their routines and their behaviors, their actions, it's like I'll get there eventually. It's like this kind of thing: growth mindset versus fixed mindset. I am who I am, and this is just the way it is. Or I can grow and I can become a completely different person if I wanted to. But it's something I was thinking about with our coaches here as well, like the beautiful growing opportunities of one-to-one training. It's something that I think we're going to focus on. Obviously, with COVID, it's like fucking no choice really. But really, kind of something that we've never really pursued too much. Was kind of one-on-one because it's just really difficult to schedule. Blah blah. For people, it's just not that affordable a lot of the times. But something that we want to do a little bit more. Because I just remember just thinking back, like one of the things that just really accelerated my development and my growth was just working with people one-on-one. And again, each client comes in with a new problem. It's like, fuck, it's like you are studying between sessions because you want to help the person as much as you possibly can. So each new challenge is, again, an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to grow. But even that's something, because Brandon's he's all kind of moving mobility. He kind of try and get everyone to kind of niche into a different area. And that'd be kind of something he's really passionate about, but something that maybe I neglect. That's kind of why I went and done the yoga certification for the crack. But yeah, no, I think that's really cool. And then so you're doing that, and then you could do your own kind of online training then as well.
Absolutely. As I mentioned earlier, I've been doing it on and off, like unknown to myself for a long time. And I always found that one-to-one thing was always something that I was like, yeah, that's something I want to do. Like thinking back to, the Karate Kid, all these films where it's like the sensei and the young fella. Always loved that. And, the idea of being almost like a guide, you're just there to show them the way, and they have to go there. It's always something that I was like, I want to be a part of that, either as the young fella or as the coach. And I was listening to Justin Gaethje, UFC fighter, and he was on about his coach and how important it is to have that one-on-one there. It makes a massive difference. Somebody there to know what you need, know the days that you maybe need to dial back enough. There's a lot that goes into that one-to-one. Obviously, you can help more people with group, but it's nice to have a balance. So I'm glad to hear you're going to move into that more individualized approach. It's a different challenge altogether, but with the online side of things, I've been individual from the very start. Always try to meet people where they're at, and not plug them fad diet or plug them one size fits all, because one size doesn't fit all for everybody. Obviously, you're gonna have outliers, somebody who does better on a one size fit all approach, and people who don't do as well. When you go with an individualized approach, you're more likely to get them in that sweet spot. Also depends on the person you are as well. With the online coaching, I find you can make a big difference with people. The stuff that goes on outside of the training, I was doing 20-30 hours of in-person stuff before this, but I find that the online stuff, you can impact the rest of their life a lot more, because an hour when you're talking away, training away, it's hard to get a proper conversation going, because you're talking in between sets and such. If you're getting a call in at the weekend, you're discussing your habits, you're discussing what happened, were you stressed? What can we do to eliminate that stress? If you get stressed like that again, what can we do to bring you back to normal? Little conversations like that maybe people wouldn't bring up in a PT session.
Yeah.
You can affect people a lot, and you can affect a lot more people than with PT, because with PT, you have to be there for that hour, but in online coaching, you're not there. You can kind of scale it a lot more, I find.
I think, again, that's beautiful. And that's kind of what we try to do here with Find Fit. It's like, our program is like, the reason we do the group training is because it's like, I think that's like the least important part. That's the easiest part. It's like, if you got a client, it's like, once they kind of get the technique down and stuff, it's like, it's like, what are you doing? You're standing around kind of counting sets and reps, and you're having a bit of chit chat between fucking, on restaurants and that. But it's like, the value for us is in the coaching. The value is in the weekly check-ins. The value is in the goal review sessions. That's where the value is. But like, some people, like, their mindset is, well, maybe again, taking extra ownership. It's our job to communicate the value maybe a little bit better. But it's like that. The value's in the coaching. The value's not in the workout, because people say, "Oh, I can't make the workouts." You know what I mean? I want to cancel my membership. It's like, but it's like, you don't need to go to the workouts to reach your goals. Like you said, you wanted to lose a stone in 10, 12 weeks, whatever it is. Like, we can still do that without the workouts. You do realize that, again, if you're willing to be accountable and stay on track. And fair enough, if you're struggling, but it's like, oh, would you want to go out for a walk instead? I give you a home workout program, blah blah. There's 100 different ways to do it. Don't put the value in the workouts, because it's much more than the workouts. Like you said, the 20-minute conversation. That's where the magic happens. That's where the light bulbs go off. That's kind of where we dial down, and when we're having that one-on-one time, we get to really understand your goals and what really motivates you, and then go that a little bit deeper. Things that you can't always do, because people maybe are a little bit more awkward, kind of talking face to face, kind of where maybe even in your texting throughout the week and stuff like that. It's very helpful just to know that somebody's in your corner, somebody kind of has your back, somebody kind of wants the best for you, because a lot of people don't have that.
No. I think it's a massive thing for a lot of people, just having someone there to go to, if they have any small issues, and it doesn't have to be a big thing, to answer, is it all right if I have my protein shake that at a time that's not after training, something as simple as that. Just eases the worries. And one thing I do find, though, people sometimes can be a bit apprehensive about asking for help, and I think that's a part of the reason why people maybe don't go for that online or go for that one-on-one coaching, because they don't want to be seen as asking for help. But I have no problem asking for help. I'm sure you're the same. Like, you need to be willing to ask for that help, because you won't get none if you don't ask for it.
Yeah, like saying, if you don't ask, you don't get. Literally one of my favorite sayings. And you kind of talked a little bit about, did I hear somewhere, or one of your posts, or maybe it was in the podcast, about you're doing the precision nutrition?
Yeah, it's taking a bit longer than I thought it would.
But it's pretty in-depth course. I got it I didn't do it myself, but I got Sam's doing it, Chris done it, Brandon done it. But it's just because when you were talking about kind of the one size fits all, some people kind of take it and run. They talk about it in precision nutrition, because we get the guys, once we can learn something, we try and get to teach each other, because it's the best way to kind of retain the information. And this kind of concept of the bakers. It's like, the bakers are the people, you give them a recipe, they'll fucking follow that recipe to a T. And then the other people aren't bakers, they're chefs. They like to add a little bit of spice, and they like to, mix it up a little bit.
Get creative.
Experiment with flavors and stuff like that. So if you just give them this kind of strict, rigid thing, it's like, it doesn't really fit their personality type. Whereas the bakers, they love that. They're like, tell me what to eat, where to be, when do I have to do it, blah, 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 and then boom, they get it done. And they're the people that kind of come through, like, these kind of programs will just fucking absolutely kill it. Like, I'll do exactly
Absolutely.
what you tell me when you tell me. And other people, they just like to make it their own a little bit more, or I know they're just more artsy or something, I think.
Yeah, I think it comes down to, you know, those initial chats and, you know, setting expectations. That's one thing I've probably gotten better, is realizing whether or not somebody would fit what approach early on. So for some people, I have to approach it more rigid. Some people is quite loose, where you give them kind of guidelines and let them kind of float around and do their own thing, and that'll work well for them. That's where, like, those sort of bakers, they suit like a group program perfect, because they'll just go in, hammer it out, get great results out of it. It all comes down to, you know, as a coach, you just need to have a look at the person, see which would be a better approach to them. But that takes time. There's no book that's going to be able to tell you how to choose people. You have to be able to decide for yourself.
Yeah, 100%. And it's what's next? So we can have the podcast. So like, what is your kind of your goal or ambition with the podcast? Where, like, obviously, listen, you want to be next Joe Rogan. You know, where do you want to take it? Just kind of having interesting conversations. Now, I see you're a great networker. I see you on Instagram. You're a great support, even for myself. You've been a great support on our own kind of page, your own posts, always kind of giving good feedback and stuff, which is really appreciated. And I see you do that with other people. It's like, what is the goal for you with, say, like, social media, podcasts in general?
Big thing for me is creating different views around health and fitness, you know, on a wider scale. I don't think there's enough done on government-wide scales, and, you know, that has to start with people who are in industries related to it. You know, we have to not put it down people's throats, but we have to bring it to a sort of place where it's very normal to look after your health, and it's not seen as, you know, there's still some places in Ireland that, like, you know, looking after your health is not seen as something you do, or training, or I want to change those sort of opinions and break down some of the barriers that we kind of set for ourselves, and as a society we kind of set for ourselves. I'm gone fucking deep here, but I was thinking about this the other day. Obviously, I want to have fucking fun conversations. I want to have a bit of crack and develop myself because of that. And when I talk about networking and supporting other people, I don't believe you're a success unless you help other people successful and be successful. So I want to help as many people be successful, whether it's other coaches, people who aren't in coaching, and then clients, and affecting as many people as possible. You know, don't think there's enough people that do enough positive things in the world, and if I can help in any way, shape or form, I'm going to do it. And hopefully the podcast that I'm doing, and then doing podcasts with yourself and whatever I do on Instagram and help my clients, hopefully that contributes to that.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, and then, like, what do you think? Like, what do you think is what your core message? What do you feel like say for your ideal client, who is that, or like, who do you want to work with, or like, who, if somebody's listening to this, like, you know, what do you do, or like, what's your area of expertise?
I would say, like, I've dabbled in so many, like, I've trained people with all sorts of backgrounds, and I'm glad that when I was younger I didn't try and pigeonhole myself into one style. I kind of took anybody on, which is something, as you get older, you're probably like, right, now we need to kind of branch off into what I'm better at. But because of that, I've got to work with so many different types of people. I find helping people live happier lives while looking after their healthy habits and getting them in shape. That's where I fit in. I'm not there to get people in, you know, 6-pack abs in 6 weeks. I'm not there to get people looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm going to help people become happy, or help them get in better shape so they feel better about themselves and just live happier and more fulfilling lives. A lot of the conversations I have aren't even around training, aren't even around nutrition. It's around other stuff. Obviously, there's a lot of importance put on the training and nutrition, but when I'm actually speaking to somebody, it might not be about the training side of things. So anybody who wants to just live happier, anybody who wants to be healthier, and want to have a bit of crack for 20 minutes at the weekend every time we get a call in, you know, that's who I'm about. And yeah, that's that in a nutshell, I'd say.
Yeah, that's really cool. Again, that's kind of something that I've kind of been thinking as well. It's like, it's so much more motivating for me to, like, I like, just don't get excited by helping people fucking with superficial stuff. It's like, oh, you want to look good. It's like, but it's like, but I appreciate that might be step A. You know, I said, I really feel like, honestly, I do believe, like, you know, there's a strong correlation, and obviously correlation doesn't necessarily mean causation, but, you know, depression over the last, say, 50 years, obesity over the last 50 years. Like, imagine, and again, only because I personally experienced it. You know what I mean? It's like, when you wake up every morning, every time you get out of the shower, every time you get dressed, every time you're trying to put on clothes, every time blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? And you don't like what you see in the mirror. That affects your mental health more than anything else I've ever experienced. You know, and we're gonna, like everybody, I've had my own fair share of shit. You know what I mean? Over in my lifetime. You know what I mean? But it's like that's like fucking point A. But it's like I want to help you. Yeah, I want to help you be happy. And one thing I say is like everybody says this whole thing is like, you know, 80% nutrition, 20% exercise, whatever. But I'm like, if we like, what about mindset? Without the mindset, it's like nothing happens. Literally zero happens. And that's kind of for us now. We're kind of shifting our business model a little bit. We're in the process of doing like just more towards education, coaching, and accountability. You know, so giving them, trying to just empower people with the tools, knowledge, and resources they need to then live a healthier life. You know, but to really to dial in little simple things like, you know, how to set good goals. You know, and then more importantly, like, why is that goal important to you? You know, you ask, I do it all the time. It's like, what's your goal? I don't know. I want to lose weight and tone up. It's like, why? You know, and it's like, all right, why do you want to lose weight and tone up? And then we delve a little bit deeper. You know, because maybe I don't like how I look after I had the babies, or, you know, I want to look a little bit better for my partner, and it's like, oh, why do you want to look a little bit better for your partner? And then we go again. This whole thing 7 levels deep. You know, we done a cool thing. It's like a fitness mindset mastery, a workshop, and hopefully we'll actually work again online. Massive. A couple of people like, you know, like, this day changed my year and my life. Somebody said that this day changed my year and my life, and it's like, that's what gets me excited. Rather than, you know what I mean, I went to the beach and I look great. It's like, there's nothing wrong with that, because I feel like if that's an important place to start. And it's like, if you have never had abs, I feel like you need to work. Like, it's a very valuable experience.
You should have abs at least once in your life.
100%. Yeah, I do believe that, because I'm telling you, like, when you stand in front of the mirror and you're flexing, you're like, there is a huge correlation, I believe. I remember, like, before I go into championships and fight, it's like, obviously, it's like, it conditions your mind. It sharpens it. It sharpens the saw. You know, because it's like, six pack's not enough. To get a six pack, it takes a lot of discipline. This whole thing, like fitness, you can't buy it. You know, what I mean, you can pay for a good coach, pay for a good gym membership or whatever. But at the end of the day, you got to put in the work. We're only here to give you the help, support, and advice, and, you know, kind of hopefully kind of touch base and say the right thing at the right time, so it kind of keeps you ticking over. When you got to do the work, and there's something beautiful about that you can't buy. You have to earn it. And when you're standing there and you actually feel proud of yourself and how you look, that is step A. And then all of a sudden, then doors start to open everywhere else. I know the person I was 5-6 years ago, 50 pounds overweight, wouldn't be able to do the things I'm able to do today, because you're twice the size but half the man. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's so true, and you see it over and over and over again. So I just really, obviously, getting people kind of confident in their body is something that I'm really passionate about. But more so, I want to have an effect on their mindset. I want to change their beliefs. I want to help them address them beliefs. But again, I feel like sometimes I can even do personality tests, and maybe I can come across a little bit harsh or a little bit blunt sometimes. But again, that's who I am. People who resonate with that message, come work with me. If you feel like I'm a little bit too harsh or something, it's like, listen, go find somebody. And then not disrespectfully, I'm saying, like, go find somebody else who you connect with better. You know, somebody maybe who's a more arm around the shoulder approach. Just because that's not me and that's not what's worked for me. So it's like, but, you know, loads of people out there love the likes of David Goggins, Jocko Willink, all these people, and that's what I'm vibing on. You know, that's the kind of message I like, because that's what resonates to me. Because for me, you need to fucking cut through the bullshit and, like, say it like it is and get to the point. You know, because I'm too busy for fluffy conversations. You know,
yeah, I agree with that, and it's important that you put out the messages that you resonate with. There's no point in you talking, like, putting the arm around the shoulder. Let's say if that didn't resonate with you or doesn't resonate with you, you're not being genuine to yourself. And that's one thing I've tried to change up. I would have maybe gone down that route too much, but I am not necessarily that sort of a character naturally. Sometimes it comes out, like, you know, whenever I'm doing chat or whatever, but trying to be more myself whenever I'm putting stuff out there, because then it's going to attract the people that actually will do well with me. Exactly. That's definitely been a big thing. But empowering people, as you mentioned, is the big thing. I don't want people to go away from coaching experience and feel like they haven't gained anything from it. Like, they couldn't go away and look after their own training and their nutrition and whatever else by themselves. The least I want them to come away with is knowing a little bit more about how to look after their nutrition habits and their training. A lot of people don't come away from an experience like that with anything learned. It's just a picture, and that's it.
Exactly, yeah. And then them trainers, they'll use them pictures over and over and over again. Love it. That's the way we kind of make a point where we try not to use too many kind of before and after photos. Like, I prefer, like, I'd love to get people obviously on video. I'd say like a video testimonial would be ideal, but, you know, the Facebook reviews, the Google reviews, all that kind of stuff. Because I feel like, you know, I don't want to be fucking showing you what you perceive to be your worst. as a way. Like I prefer maybe to focus on the after. But but again, it's one of these things like don't hate the player, hate the game. That's the way it is. They work extremely well for marketing. That's why people use them. Unfortunately, because everybody wants the quick fix. So then, kind of before we wrap it up, like where's the best place for people to get in contact? So I see, are you putting I see your podcast will be on your Instagram page, which is what, at Coach Pig.
At Coach Pig _higher training. So on my bio, there's a link there. You can go onto the podcast through either on Spotify or on YouTube. That's probably the best place to find me. On Facebook, I'm the same, Coach Pig Higher Training. Those are the two best places to find me, and anything else I'm doing is generally up on Instagram. You'll see me talking shite up on my story there.
You love a good bit of chat on the old IG story. But again, like I have to say, like, you inspired me. Were you and this other guy I'm doing? He's coming on our podcast next month. This guy called Paul Moore. Just told me, just get on the fucking camera, man. Just say what you have to say. And it's better. Just get it out there. Because
you feel better for it as well.
You do once you get it off your chest, and it's like the worst thing is like, listen, it comes across maybe you didn't say it in the right way, or you might have offended somebody, but listen, it is what it is. Just fucking roll with the punches and go with the flow. And again, but then it's like them messages that somebody says that helped me, or that's what I need to hear today, or all well said, or whatever. Like that's what makes it like that is really what it's all about. So Daz, we'll leave it there for today. Again, definitely great chat. Love to have you on again. Hopefully some point in the future I'll maybe jump on your podcast as well. So keep it lit, man. I genuinely do love what you're doing. I love your message. Love kind of you're a good guy. One of my favorite people in the fitness industry. I really don't follow a lot of people on Instagram or whatever, because I'm always just trying to focus on my own thing. But I definitely keep an eye on what you're doing. I love that you're such a good networker and you support other people. It really is great to see people like yourself. So keep it lit, man, and let's keep in touch.
Absolutely, brother. And thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, very welcome, bro. We'll see you again.
Take care.